everyone. I'm the director of this wonderful piece, and this is Lester, or Les, who is also the writer, and this is Christine Henry as well. And then I also want to give a shout out. Yes, please. Wonderfully talented, beautiful souls that I'm so grateful to have worked with. And I also want to give a shout out to Debbie K. Cook, who is with us throughout this process, and she's right there. Please give her a round of applause as well. A lot of wonderful work and fixing a lot of the things in this play and making it presentable to all of you. And I just have a few last words about this piece that I want to share. I'm going to read off my phone because I don't want to mess them up. I want to introduce this piece as objectively as possible. This play is foremost a beginning to a conversation. It follows a couple who has persevered and continue to fight for a new chance to start anew. It is about the people who stand beside you just as steadily as they stand by their own convictions. It is a story about blasting away everything that you hide behind in order to uncover one's true, unyielding spirit. It is about openly loving one another and oneself, and how that love changes everyone around us. We hope you enjoy. Ercole and Megara, A Couple's Journey, by Lester E.D. Cook. Ercole Cuoco, a person of trans experience who is going through his journey. That includes marriage, parenthood, and loss. Megara Cuoco, Ercole's domestic partner and later his wife. She goes through her own transition to find her voice. And Adam, Ercole's voice coach and best man at his wedding. The place is Cuoco's home in the Bronx, New York. The time is over the course of 12 years between 2006 and 2019. Act 1, Scene 1, the name change. Setting, the location is Harlem, New York in 2009. There's a small rise of steps leading upwards from a bank of wall-mounted mailboxes. There's a door on the right side of the landing above the step. The other side of the door is a sofa, a desk with a computer on it, and a rolling chair. At rise, standing next to the mailboxes is a middle-aged woman with a pompadour haircut and compression-bound chest. She is holding a large manila envelope that is addressed to her from her family's attorney in Brooklyn. She begins to scream and race up the stairs, calling for her partner.
They're here, my name change papers are here. I can finally start my life. The waiting is over. I did get it. I get a second chance at life. I get a do-over, a real do-over. No more being ashamed or not wanting to go outside. I will finally be able to love me. I can finally get comfortable in my own skin. It's official. We are now a straight couple. And I can be all I need to be. How many people do you know get a second chance to do their whole life over? I have a clean slate, and I intend to make the most of it. Hi, my name is Ercole.
Action stops.
I know that the signs were all there. Really, I did. I just chose to be blind to them. I thought it was all talk. I guess it wasn't. What the fuck was he thinking? What the fuck was I thinking? Was I that oblivious to what he was doing? I know that he mentioned the name change project, but I guess I was just too wrapped up with my moron professors to really pay attention. I can go through this with him. He was there for me when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in '07. He should have left then. So help me goddess, I won't either.
Action restarts.
Hi, Ercole. Pleased to meet you.
Fade to black. Scene 3, Ercole's monologue. At rise, Ercole is sitting at a bar on a stool with his back against the wall. Megara is sitting on the other stool taking small sips out of a mixed drink.
People think it's easy. My Uncle Carmine said at one point, what are you going to do? Cut off your tits and put on a dick? And he was gayer than a $3 bill. So much for having gay family members being supported. Meanwhile, the world thinks that the LGBT part of the community is so supportive of their T brethren. Never mind those folks who were born with their genders and their genitalia match. It really isn't their fault. What do they know? They know what they know. And the media isn't always helpful in that department. Definitely the wingnuts, right or left, do nothing to move the conversation forward. For me, the journey to get here now is taking overcoming insurmountable odds and a resolve I never knew I had or realized I would need to have to make this journey. I had to overcome a major suicide attempt And when I got to the psych unit at the ripe age of 26, after fighting all Labor Day weekend with my ex and my uncle, but that's another story. When I think of it, when I think back on it now, I just shake my head. I can remember getting to Coney Island Hospital's inpatient unit and thinking, maybe if I tell them the truth, I can finally get the help I need to be the right body. I will stop being in pain. Maybe they can fix my body. I remember telling anyone who listened that I was a man trapped in a woman's body. That response cost me 3 months of my life and another 21 years trapped inside the public mental health system because no one would help me until 2009. The drugs they put me on, the neuroleptics, the mood stabilizers, and Cogentin. It was a nasty piece of work, and I'll never forget feeling so devastated and dismissed. It wouldn't be till I get to PI that I would get the help I needed, and even then, it still wasn't what I needed and that was to transition. I told another therapist once that I would gladly transition. I know I'm in the wrong body. I know I'm a man. Nobody wants to give me access to what I need, so I'm kind of stuck. She was sympathetic, but uninformed. I lived 4 years in substandard housing that was running with roaches, mice, and bed bugs. My life is about getting by one day at a time, and people wonder why we just can't get out of the poverty hole. If you live in provider-based housing, which I did, you live 130% below the poverty line. I didn't have time to worry about transitioning. It wasn't going to happen. I was too wrapped up in what they thought was best for me, instead of listening to me and my needs. I should be all fucked up. And I admit, I was. What folks don't see is how much grief there is, how being denied a life for so many years and now scared of what my future holds, sometimes being angry. I get access or grieving over how much I lost academically because I had to wait to go back to school later in life. Being afraid I will never really contribute to society. People never understand how embarrassed I felt when I pulled out my food stamp or Medicaid card. I felt less than. I know most folks probably think I'm lazy. I'm on entitlements. Not that I want to be. I often wonder if people know that I've never been lazy, and that for the longest time I worked the only way I could, off the books. I'm far from lazy. I wanted to work. I remember working at a law office at one point as a clerk, and I was able to buy things for my mom and my sister and not feel ashamed at Christmas. Most folks don't know how many of us, how painful the holidays can be because we are so poor and unable to fully participate. I began officiating softball at the age of 21. Then I moved on to football and eventually picked up baseball. It takes a special kind of courage to put that equipment on and get down behind the plate and take your chances with getting hit with the baseball in the face. Don't worry, I had a mask and a chest protector. Before I began my medical journey, I was considered a good umpire. Better than many of the men who were my colleagues. But I knew as a female in a man's sport, I had to be twice as good to be considered that I might have half their ability. Now, when I get down to call balls and strikes, even in a clinic, I'm considered an elite umpire, and I don't get half the hassles on the field for calls I once made. And here's a funny story. I was up in Westchester County, working a baseball game, had a guy slide into second base, hands up, I bang. That's interference. He's out. Move back toward first base. He's out. Guy comes up screaming, "Oh, come on, Blue! Come on! I didn't interfere." I said, "You slid it with your hands up, prevented the defender from making the play on the man going to first base. That's interference. That is the technical definition of interference." "Oh, come on, Blue! This isn't girls softball. Now you're done. Where's my warning?" Without missing a beat. "This isn't girls softball. You fucking bitch, fuck you!" And before I knew it, here comes my partner up the first base line. 30 seconds to get out of the dugout. In between innings, of course, there was now a line. Because he had to. Worried that I was his catcher. He had to be my catcher. Next game, I had to pitch. So, don't tell me there isn't some kind of implicit misogyny. But God, it feels good. And amazing now when I walk down the street and I get called ma'am, sir, Mr. Cuoco. It feels amazing to suddenly know that I am free. I will never forget the first time I went shirtless. The first time I felt the hot sun on my chest and my back with no shirt. I was sweating, playing ball, just to be able to take off my shirt and wipe myself down like any other guy. You know, I got sunburned and it hurt like hell. I wouldn't change the pain of that sunburn for anything else in the world. Now I couldn't wait for Megara to touch my chest, as it was meant to be. I never let her touch my chest before surgery, much less any other female. It was too painful. It felt icky, dirty. I was never ever able to relax and enjoy being seduced. I can now, although, well, that's another story we'll discuss later. Now I worry about having a six-pack of abs. And as I go through adolescence again, I want to be who I would have been if I was growing up in the 70s in the right body, my Sicilian Italian roots in Brooklyn. Some people think this is like a choice, like, oh, today I decided to wear jeans. People don't understand. You're compelled to transition. Whether you live or die depends upon it. It's like breathing. You have to do it at all costs. Why would anyone submit themselves to the physical challenges transitioning brings? Between weight requirements, healing time, and trying to make sure you don't get killed or raped, I don't have to worry about that issue, like my sisters of trans experience do, who also are women of color. So when people say it's easy or judging, they have no fucking clue. So my gold chain and my horse's head ring are all reminders of who I was supposed to be and who I would have been. I love the way I look at my clothes now. It was god awful before. Those things sticking out of me that didn't belong here, I felt like garbage in my clothes. And I'm usually on the verge of tears, especially if I watch the Rocky movies. I guess the whole being physically fit thing gets me. I also know that there are some things that no matter who is in your corner, you have to face alone. When I walk into that operating room, that is all me. No one else can walk in there. And as scared as I am, I don't have a choice. I have a deformity that needs to be fixed so I can stand at the urinal, so I can make love with my wife. I can't wait to write my name in the snow. I want to be able to stick my rock-hard cock inside Megara and have her walls clamp down on me to the point where I think she will pop my head like a zit. She has often pushed me out. I want to be able to cry in her arms after we have consummated our marriage. For real. Where it is just us, with nothing in between us, and there is no disconnect. I want to be whole. I don't want to feel like an it. I don't want to have to use a piece of fucking plastic to make my wife happy and satisfied. I want to make sure that when we are done, the whole fucking neighborhood needs a cigarette. Megara, through all of this, has been my rock. First, it isn't easy to love me. I'm demanding and impossible some days. How she's done it for as long as she has, I don't know. She has the patience of a saint. And on a side note, the mouth of a stevedore, too. She keeps me grounded. My voice is different now than when we first got together. She's my rock and my foundation. I'm a dreamer and an idealist, an incurable romantic. She makes me want to be a better man. She knows how to keep my feet on the ground while I chase the stars in my dreams. I thank the goddess every day she chose me. I haven't made it easy for her, and there were times I was scared that she would change her mind. I'm grateful that never happened. She's my wild child, my flower child, my hippie in the wrong decade. She keeps me on my toes. Let's give the people something to talk about. I'm ready to scandalize the neighborhood. Are you?
Fade to black. Scene 5, Megara's model look. Setting, a hospital waiting room with a sofa, chair, and low table. At Rise, Megara is sitting in the chair dressed in jeans, t-shirt, and a tatty jean jacket.
What do you mean you can't find him? He's out of surgery. He's not in recovery. You lost him. And don't tell me that he's parked in the hallway waiting for transport. Don't you get that this is major surgery and that you have just ruined any confidence I have in you? And as if that wasn't insulting enough, I had some annoying little woman from pastoral counseling wanting to pray with me while my husband was in surgery, and she was nosy. Wanting to know, well, what type of surgery? That's none of your business. Well, I didn't say that to her, but I was thinking it. That, and I wanted to go grab her damn shidle and smack her with it because she was just so fucking intrusive. Unless you're the doctor dealing with my husband's body parts, I don't have to tell you shit. Oh, they found him, finally. And that wasn't all. They wouldn't let me look at his chart because I wasn't a doctor and I wasn't his wife. I didn't really matter that we had a domestic partnership, and this was before they legalized gay marriage. Then they managed to screw up his gender pronouns. Don't know how many times I had to tell them it is he, his, him, not she, her, hers. I mean, come on. If you're gonna get nasty with me, I'm gonna get nasty with you, and I'm already in a really nasty mood. Do you know what it's like to go through a situation like this, and everyone you were supposed to depend on failed? You know, the person in transition has all the supports in the world. The partners, fuck you. That's right. Fuck you. Nobody was there to hold my hand while I panicked. Nobody was there to walk beside me as I paced in the waiting room. Damn it, I was chain smoking. I was so stressed out. And the messed up part is, about all this, partners are an afterthought. On one hand, they tell you that the person who's in transition is not the only one in transition. The whole family is in transition. So if that's the case, why is there nothing out there for us partners, for us family members, for the ones who count, who mean the most? Why? Damn it, why? I want to know why. I was devoiced and made invisible. I was so done. My voice was stripped from me as a kid. Who believed me when I told the truth in a family that keeps secrets? I was 19 when I came out of the closet. I told my mom about how I felt about other girls, but my feelings were insignificant compared to how my mom's feelings were going to be when she told her Mormon bishop, threatened me to take away my children if I had any. Talk about getting slapped down for the first adult decision you ever made. And like a scared little girl, I ran back into the closet, and I jumped into bed and married the first asshole dick that came along. Closed my eyes to all the red flags that were waving, at least until he tried to flatten me. You wouldn't know it, but I was short and fat and so pregnant compared to my over 6-foot Army ex-husband. Scared the crap out of him. I did. Everyone to that point kept me from speaking my truth and telling me I was crazy. And I was crazy from tolerating a lifetime of bullshit. It was no small wonder that for speaking my truth would result in a downhill spiral that would force me to move across the country and start over. So yeah, I spoke my truth and my old life ended, only to have it upended again and again and then again until I found my footing. Moving to New York allowed me to live my truth. I found the love of my life, and she was a stone butch. She was the umpire and the referee for men's sports, for God's sake. And then it happened. The red flags, Jesus, for lack of a better word, were waving again. All the signs were there, and I chose not to see them. His preference for male pronouns, his need for chest binders, and his use of a nickname rather than his birth name. And then told me that he was trapped inside a woman's body and needed to transition. I'd finally gotten to having my own voice as a lesbian woman in my own right, and now he was going to take that and upend that too. Guys, I was pissed. I was confused. I was stunned. What the hell was I going to do? There was no way I was going to lose my voice again. I loved myself too damn much to let that ever happen again. Never, ever again. Boy, was I wrong. It did screw up my voice, and it wasn't him that did it. As a lesbian with another woman, no matter how butch, I could order my dinner at a fancy restaurant and have my opinion validated by colleagues and by my compatriots. The illusion of testicles clearly ended that immediately. It still happens today. At dinner at Delmonico's for our first wedding anniversary was a reminder of that. The waiter was asking him to order for me. Now, being ever the lady, I made the appropriate noises about him ordering for me. Of course, I had already told him what I wanted, but I wasn't going to blow the illusion of being a good little woman with nary a brain cell beyond her hair and makeup and little black dress. He, being the gentleman, reminded the waiter that I was a big girl and could order for myself, that I was a personal chef in the real world. So, don't screw with my steak. If I say blue, I mean blue. Beyond that, his transition did screw with my voice again, and he was ever so patient. Throughout our entire relationship, he reminded me that I needed to have a life outside of him, and that my voice was who I was, with all its lumps and bumps and bruises, and I needed to be clear what I wanted from him, and that came with some baggage. It was then that an honorable son decided it was a perfect time to show up in my life. Not to mention the head games that he caused with Ercole. I've never seen a man in so much doubt about himself. I love my son, but he tried to play the game, it's me or him, and he didn't expect to lose that fight. There was no way in hell I was going to go back to Oregon and all that toxic waste that I call family. Honorable son found out that I was living my truth, and boy, it really made him angry. Don't get me wrong, my kids are an important part of who I am. But I'm more than a mama, a wife, a daughter, a sister, whoever else, and everyone else, to everybody else. In truth, I had to find out who I was first. I had another man in my life, and my son, Blue, the mother of all tantrums. Mika learned what it was to be consistent, and he learned it from Ercole. It's not that I wasn't consistent myself. I was a mom and I walked on water. Mika didn't want me to get hurt again. But he didn't understand that I wasn't the same person that he was when he was 5 years old. He wanted the mom he knew before the ship went sideways and I lost custody of him. He thought that he could get back to before it all went south. I couldn't have asked for a better outcome between Mika and Ercole. Those two are as thick as thieves now. Of course, Ercole had to remind Honorable Son that if he didn't change his attitude, he was going to get a quick kick in the ass and be grounded. Losing your cell phone for 6 months will straighten anyone that took that out. I have no fear that those two are going to give me more gray hair than I'll ever need. As for Ercole, he became the dad he always wanted to be. Me, I didn't have to play at being a mom and a dad all the time. It's just about perfect, and just about perfect. He never treated Mika like he was baggage. And whenever we had to make an important decision about Mika, he was always included. Ercole wanted Mika to be a full member of this blended family. And the crazy part was that I was happy with it. I had a man who saw my kid and his kid, nothing more or less. He will say, he's mine. Mika comes from my own loins. No doubt about it. I digress. What? What the hell? What was I rambling about? Oh, me. Of course. Me. Losing my voice, losing it, getting it again, losing it. As I said, I'd almost gotten there before he started his transition. But I made a promise to myself that I would never marry again after divorcing my son's father, and a string of bad relationships afterwards. I was just turned off from committing to someone in a very permanent way. I was afraid that I would lose everything I had gained, everything I had worked for, and to just give it up. Yeah, I know I'm rambling, but it needs to be said. Then we went to couples counseling. As much as a failure as it was, well, actually it wasn't totally a failure. It was just really complicated. Because once we found out that he was trans, they were more interested in how I felt about his transition and him transitioning than as us as a couple, as any other couple with issues. We did learn how to fight fair, though. I had a ton of individual therapy because he insisted upon it. He wouldn't tolerate me not addressing my stuff. He didn't even care if I left him, as long as I was happy and healthy. And so did he. Somewhere we found a way to make it work. Look, I grew up fixing what was broken, but I never learned how to fix a broken relationship until him. Ours wasn't exactly broken, just dinged up pretty bad. Love, romance, more so on his part because I suck at romance. Mismatched libidos, talking late at night, fighting fair. We made it work. We went to our corners when we needed to breathe. We made it work. Oh yeah, my voice changed again. We learned how to give and take, build on each other's strength and shore up those areas where we were individually weak, fight passionately, and love scandalously. I intend to grow old with this man. I really do. And I will go to my grave knowing that everything was worth it. So yeah, his transition did change everything. It changed me too. And I think I'm a better person for it.
Lights dim. 2 spotlights shine. One on Megara, one on Ercole, Adam, and the doctors. Ercole is on a gurney with an IV connected to his arm. Ready to go, bud?
Yeah, it's taking a bit to get here.
But was it worth it?
Oh, hell yeah. If it weren't for her over there, I wouldn't be here today. I'm a better man for her. She helped me be a better father for him. She's my hero.
But don't let her go. She's come with you on this journey this far, then this is meant to be.
I don't plan on letting her go. She's my rock, my angel, my everything. Take care of her while I'm in surgery. Let her know that I love her, and I'll be back soon.
I promise.
Meg, I love you. I have always loved you.
I love you. Come back to me.
Fade to black. Curtain falls.